Okay, last thing that I kind of want to touch on, because I've been seeing a lot of this too, menopause benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I have just learned so much about menopause. Really thankful to all the people out there that are posting about it, because I'm like learning, and women are working, and we're working through that. And man, sometimes I'm like, men, y'all got it easy. But I saw menopause benefits as something that Maven Click actually provides. What does that look like? And how did like expanding past fertility care, thinking about women in all the moments in their life?
Yeah, it's such a good question. So Maven started in 2014, actually specifically with the maternity portion. Our first product was maternity and newborn care for that life stage and journey.
Yeah.
And some of the earliest employer partners we worked with said, like, this is amazing. Like, the engagement is there. We're seeing incredible, not only qualitative feedback from our employees that are enrolling in these programs, but we're seeing the outcomes and behaviors that we were hoping for with these types of benefits. We think you should get in some other areas. And ultimately, that push from our employer partners, that's what got us into the fertility and family building space to begin with. And then that's what got us into parenting and pediatrics. And for a long time, we were in this like rough stage of life of starting and growing a family and being a parent. And that's where we were for a number of years. And a few years ago, just around 2 years ago, I think, if my memory serves me right, we started to notice many employees and members using our provider base, whether it was pelvic floor therapists that maybe a new mom was using after recovery from labor and delivery, to ask questions that were actually seemingly more around symptoms related to menopause. We saw our nutritionists get more questions on related to menopause, and our sleep coaches. And so it became very clear that actually there's this growing hunger for information, and women are using our platform in a way that we had not at first intentionally thought, but the need was clearly there. At the same time, we started hearing from our employers, hey, employees are coming up to me and saying, that's awesome. You have this new fertility benefit. What about me? Right? You're saying that you as an organization are trying to achieve 50-50 gender parity. And you've made all of these claims on like, you want to see women in top senior positions, particularly in the leadership and management levels. But for a lot of women, when they're up to get these top senior leadership positions, like they are also, many of them, going through symptoms and experiencing symptoms that are going to have an impact on their work life, right? They're going to be having some sleepless nights, and they're going to be having some hot flashes, and they're going to be having some brain fog, and they're going to be having some weight fluctuations. And all of these things are going to show up for them, not only in their personal life, but this is going to show up for them at work. And so if you as an employer are saying, I want to achieve gender parity in the workplace, and I want women in top senior positions, how are you actually supporting them in this phase of life and providing the same types of resources that have become so common in the workplace, right? Like fertility benefit is a good example, right? Like, what kind of resources are you providing for these population of incredible talent, but is feeling impact, is feeling like they actually have had to take time away from work, and haven't felt like they are the most productive because they're dealing with these symptoms, and them not knowing where to go. And it's not even a simple answer of, oh, go talk to your OBGYN. Most OBGYNs received like under 1 day of training in medical schools about menopause. Like, people are not well trained to talk about menopause. So you can't just say, go talk to your OBGYN. So there has been this big desire. It's actually our fastest growing program here at Maven, this menopause program, and it is meant to help support individuals navigate the symptoms of premenopause, perimenopause, and postmenopause, and also to kind of make sure that the information out there around what the symptoms, how they show up, is actually factually accurate. I think culturally, you hear the word menopause and you probably think of hot flashes as like the number one symptom. It's actually not the number one symptom, Right.
But
It's in the top 5, but weight fluctuations is, I believe, the number one symptom that people come with.
yeah.
And brain fog and lack of sleep. And so how do we actually make sure that people know what to even look for in the first place? And then 2, give them access to the providers like the pelvic floor therapists they can talk to about really sort of like keeping that part of your body well equipped as you go through these various life stages, or the career coach that you can say, I'm starting to experience symptoms of menopause. Like, I don't even know how to talk to my manager about this because I need a little bit of a different working environment or some flexibility.
Yeah.
Or I want to talk to a nutritionist because I'm experiencing these weird weight fluctuations in a way I never have before. So equipping women with the type of resources to have these conversations while simultaneously giving the employer the resources they need to make sure here's how you help people that are going through this life journey. It's not just caring about the member, but on the employer side too, like it has to come together for the individual to feel well supported. So I would say, menopause certainly feels like, if it isn't already, certainly that next frontier.
Definitely. Yep. Yeah, I agree. Oh my God. I've had such a great time talking to you today. I just like, there's something beautiful about how we have really actually tried to support women in all stages of their life. And it was very scary when I started my career thinking about like being a woman in the workplace and like what my possibilities were and the barriers I was going to face. And am I going to be able to find a romantic partner who like is also like wants me to have a career and all these things. And I think a lot of women deal with that all day long. And then you think of HR, like 70% of us are also women. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just excited that there's more things out there to support us throughout every stage of our life, because there's something so beautiful about it. And we're only going to ever reach like pay parity when there are more women in senior level positions too. And so I'm excited for the future.
Me too. I'm really optimistic about it, right? Like I think that we see just across the board, it can feel like there are constant setbacks.
Yeah. Alabama.
In women and family health. And I think there's absolutely no denying that, but I feel really optimistic because I feel definitely a growing enthusiasm from leaders like yourself in sort of like, you can be a great catalyst for this change. And I love that the employees are also being more vocal about what do they need to be successful.
Yeah.
And so once we start having these conversations and stop shying away from them, like that's really where we'll see that continue to blossom.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for spending time with me today. For anyone who wants to get in touch with you, how can they reach you?
Great question. They can reach out to me via my email. So Isha, ISHA .vij, VIJ @mavenclinic.com.
Isha, thank you so much again for today. I am just grateful we finally made this happen. You've like taught me so much. Maven Clinic's putting out some really great, the reports, like the stuff. I just followed your CEO, and I think I'm just excited about the future. Exactly what we said. Like there are a lot of cool people out there who are trying to support their employees and are going to listen to this. And I hope feel equally as excited as you and I felt today, just trying to solve the problems all of us are facing.
I love it. Well, it was such a pleasure to talk to you too, Hebba. Thanks for having me on.